Hi, welcome. Simon here and hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to walk you through from start to finish how to replace the iPad 9th generation, and the year is 2021 for this model here. So this is the iPad 9th generation, and as you can see, the top right corner has a cracked screen. We'll be replacing the screen, and this is the replacement screen for this purpose. If you're not sure what model this is, you can turn it around, take a look at the back of your iPad here. I know the print is really fine, but if you can see it, it says A2609. A2609, that is the model for the iPad 9th generation. Alright, so far I'm just going to explain to you what I'm going to do, and then in this video we're going to follow along with it. The original home button is where you can use the Touch ID on it. As you can see that the Touch ID works because this is not my right finger and I can't log in. I'll be removing the original ID, transfer it over to the new screen. Okay, so the first thing I like to do is to go ahead and turn off the iPad. You can just go ahead and shut it off. Always have the safety goggle because you're dealing with broken glass. I do not want any of the glass flying into my eyes, so when you're following along the video, please make sure you have safety goggle. Protect your eyes at all times. Alright, so the next step I'll be using is the heat gun. The heat gun is to kind of heat up the adhesive on the iPad so that we can remove easily. If you do not have a heat gun, you can always use a hair dryer or something else to warm up the glass. If you're not sure where to buy the tools from or the replacement screen from, just go ahead and check the link down description below. I'll link it for you where you can go ahead directly buy it from Amazon or eBay regarding about the screen or the tools for this repair. As you can see, I'm heating up one side of the corner here. I do not heat up the entire iPad. There is a reason why I do not heat the entire iPad. It's just because by the time when you work on this, that heat up part here at the bottom left would be all cold and the adhesive will be hardened. So you only need to work on where the area you're going to plan to work on, and if it gets hardened or gets cold, you can always come back to reheat it again. So you don't have to heat up the whole iPad and hoping that you can work at one time. That is not the case, okay? Now the second thing I'm pointing out here is you can see that I'm moving on my arm, my hand up and down, left and right, because I do not want to stay in one position like this. The heat gun is really hot. I do not want to damage the internal part of the iPad. Example would be the LCD screen or the battery or the brain. So keep moving it, even heat distribution. Do not stay in one position, overheating the iPad. Alright, if you feel like you heat up enough, go ahead and get the metal prying tool, stuck it underneath, see if you can get a good grip on the glass. We are trying to separate the adhesive. There is a double-sided tape being taped really good on the iPad, so we want to separate that adhesive right there. So as you see, I'm separating the adhesive. I'm putting my finger underneath it so that the tape does not re-glue it themselves again. So when it gets hardened, gets cold, it would re-stick them back together. So you want to have something to separate the glass while you're still working on the rest of the cracked screen. So it's kind of depending on the crack. My crack is not too bad because you still can see a lot of big pieces of glass here. But if your iPad cracks all over, meaning that like a spider web all over the iPad, then you might have some difficulties to remove. But just take your time and be patient with it. You don't have to rush to try to remove the broken glass. Okay, so I have the entire plastic prying tool sticking on the left side of the screen. Here you can see that the top is already hardened and it glued themselves back together. So I need to reheat up here again. So my iPad here has the Wi-Fi, has the antenna, meaning that we use the data for the internet. So you want to pay a close attention to the top. Try not to cut that receiver, the antenna receiver for your data. It looks like the bottom glass is still stick on together. I'm having some hard time here. Oh, by accident I pressed on the power button, so the iPad just got turned on. Let me go ahead and power it back off again. that is the adhesive tape that comes with it. Now since I have the entire half of the left corner removed, I'm going to work on the bottom part here. You might want to pay a close attention to the bottom side, because this is where the Wi-Fi antenna as well as the home button cable is all being connected at the very bottom of the iPad. So you might want to pay a close attention when you separate the glass. Do not cut any of the wire, do not break or destroy any of the cables. So if you do by accident, it's not end of the world. It is replaceable. You still can replace the home button. However, the Touch ID would not work with the iPad. So the third party home button allows you to press, but does not allow you to have the Touch ID. That's about it. You know, the reason why I'm trying to flip it to the right is just because the screen, the way they make it, the flex cable flip over to the right. This is the reason why I'm hitting up the bottom first and then try to flip it over after. Okay, as you can see that I hardly use any metal at the bottom because I was using the heat, let the gravity pulls the iPad down and have the heat separate the iPad altogether. So since I'm here right at the home button cable, I just want to pay a close attention to, as well as you look at my prying tool. I never stick it all the way deep, because if you stick it all the way in, you might damage the flex cable. So just enough for you to separate them and flip the iPad to your right like this way, so you can see that the home button cable is still attached here, and that is the screen cable. That is the reason why I work at the bottom and then flip it over to the right. Alright, while the thing is still warm, what I like to do is to remove the bracket. So this is the bracket, and take a closer look at the bracket. Even Apple, they uses some kind of glue, like kind of a epoxy glue to glue that bracket together, because when you press the power button, what happens is that when you press it in, you need to have a support from the back, right? The support from the back holding the press so that the button so that you can press the button. So that's the reason why they use this epoxy glue to glue onto the home button, the bracket. Now I do have the epoxy glue here. I'm using the super glue. It's like a gel. If you're not sure where to buy them from, check down the link description below. I got it through eBay, and you can use that, or you can use that B7000. Go check it out. I'll link it down below. Now as you can see that I'm very gently going underneath the flex cable here, because we are going to reuse this cable for the home button right on the new screen, because we want to keep that Touch ID function available. All right, there you have it. I just removed the entire flex cable here, that home button, and looks like everything is intact. Everything is still in a one-piece position, which is a very good sign. Now the next step is I'm going to use the scissors and cut off the flex cable here. So I cut off that screen because this is a broken screen. We do not need them. So you can go ahead and cut it off as early as possible. And some of you may disagree with me, saying that, hey, you did not disconnect the battery and you go ahead and cut it off. You know, the scissors is metal, it's going to short the iPad. Well, I don't think it's going to short the iPad at all, if you ask me. If it does, then, well, you should disconnect the battery. But you get the idea why I did not disconnect the battery. I mean, it's a lot easier for me to work having the broken screen cut off, so that I have a free screen of you know, no destruction to work on this iPad. Imagine if you have the screen here and now you have to go and remove the LCD. you might have some difficulties, meaning that you might damage the screen or crack the screen or whatnot. So anyway, if you keep watching, you'll see what I mean by that. Alright, the next step, I'm using a tweezer. We need to remove the screw. There are 4 screws total. 2 of them are hidden on the top left and top right. So that's the reason why I flip this thing up. Get a tweezer. Flip the tape up. Expose the screw. Use a Phillips screwdriver and just remove that screw. The screws are not the same size. Make sure you do not mix match the screw. So however you remove them, make sure you know how to put it back together. Alright, so 4 screws are removed. Here is the challenge. I'm going to cut this tape off, the screw on the top left and top right. That tape is just to cover up the screw. They're trying to trick you on that part, but now you know there's a hidden screw there. So what I'm trying to say is that once you remove the screw, the LCD does not come right off. Okay, it's not that easy because there is a black gel, some kind of glue, all right, and that glue is holding onto the side of the LCD screen. So what you want to do, get a tweezer like this and go ahead and scrape off that glue. All right, I'm just running back and forth, free up that glue. So imagine if you have a broken screen right next to you because you believe you must disconnect the battery. You know how hard to have that broken screen right next to you to work with? I'm still having it right next to me now, but it's not attached. I could have thrown it in the trash. So it's a lot easier. But I just wanted to show you that's not a good idea by having it together. Anyway, I scrape off that. You see that little black gooey stuff? Once you scrape it off, the LCD would be free just like that. Okay, so you need to free on the other side now. Scraping it off just like you have a cavity and you need to scrape that thing out, or maybe you had a turkey, chicken, alligator meat, whatever that is, and it stick in your teeth. You're having a hard time to remove it, so get a toothpick or something in between, scrape that meat out. So this is the same process. You're scraping that black gel off. Once you scrape it off, you then can remove the LCD screen. Okay, as you can see, once you scrape it off, as you can see, I have removed that LCD, and you want to flip it towards yourself, close to about 90-degree angle, and now you can go ahead and remove the 3 screws. Again, I want to stress it out to you for those who say you did not disconnect the battery. Hey, imagine doing all that with that broken glass is still attached to it. At the same time, this is where the battery is. You need to disconnect that. It's almost impossible, but it's not undoable, but you still can get it done, but it's just too much work. Now here, the connector is just like Lego. is snap onto it. You just have to flip it up. Come on. Alright, so that is the 2 cable that I cut earlier. Again, it comes from the screen, so it's useless. You don't have to keep it. Just throw it away. I think this one is coming from that part. I'm just gonna stick it back in. It looks like it's important. Alright, so right now I'd like to come and take a closer look, inspect all around the corner, making sure that the broken glass are all came off, because when you sit the new screen, you want it to be nice and smooth on the surface so that the new screen can sit on top properly. Right, so just run across the side, making sure that that there's no broken glass still hanging on the iPad. Alright, once you have them being clear, now the next step is to get the home button onto that new screen. Now this is where the tricky part comes in. So I have the extra spacer. This is the extra spacer. I just remove it because the original button comes with it, so I don't need that spacer. Next step is to get the home button installed. You might want to position them straight in the center. Okay, once you have them straight in the center, the next step is to fill the home button, making sure that the home button is clickable. So what I'm doing right now is position the home button in the right way, where it ends up and meets the bracket at the end. So when you press it, it feels good and it's clickable. Alright, now once you feel the right spot is there, the next step is to go ahead and drop the tool, little small super glue adhesive to glue onto the back cover, the bracket. Okay, once you have that being done, kind of press and hold onto it for, you know, for like 30 seconds or so. You might want to let the glue rest and gets hardened. Now at the same time, I like to come back and position, making sure the clicker, the home button clicker, is still smooth. Okay. All right, that is the sweet spot. So since I have the clicker in the right position, I'm just going to let it sit for a minute while this thing is still drying up. Let's go ahead and connect the screen. They're just like Lego. You need to find them in this position. Okay, find them in the position and press it down. You don't have to force it down. Okay, you just have to make sure it aligns properly to the connector, and then you just press it in. I'm having some hard time with this button right here. Okay, finally. Come back and have the screen install. Get the bracket and the 3 screws. At this point here, you can kind of have the screen install all the way. Go ahead and turn on the iPad, making sure that the iPad works. So I can see the Apple logo. All right, it powers back up. Have all the 4 screws go back together. Okay, let me press the home button. All right, the home button works. And I know that the Touch ID works too because it tried to sense my finger. Now let me see if I can do the touchscreen. Okay, the touchscreen works. Okay, now the next step, I want to be very careful, is to let you know that you do need to have this tape here. So this is the double-sided tape 2mm, 2 millimeter. That's the width of the tape. You can definitely use the one that comes with the new screen, but I do not trust that because that is not sticky. So I like to use the third-party adhesive tape here, and it glue the iPad a lot stronger. And that's what I like, and you can use that, but I can tell you one thing for sure: you probably would only last you for like a month or so, and then your screen will start peeling off because this is a third-party screen. The adhesive is not as strong as the original, so that is why I'm using this red adhesive double-sided tape. So this tape is a lot more stronger. All right, so I have the 2 millimeter on the side, and I use the 3 millimeter here for the top and bottom. So the process of this repair, I do not try to rush it. I'm just doing it at a very slow pace and explain myself every single step so that I feel like I'm not cheating you on the over the internet. I know a lot of people, they edit in their repair and they try to hide things that they make a mistake, or to speed things up. But for my case, I want to be transparent as possible, taking my time, showing you step by step so that you can know this is really how long it takes and how much work you need to spend for this repair. You want to come back here and kind of dust off the LCD. If you have some fingerprint or anything on it, what you want to do is get yourself double-sided tape, magic tape, and kind of tape off the fingerprint or the oil of the LCD. Okay, and here I'll be using the 2mm on the side of this screen here. And since you watch all the way at the end of the video, I'll share with you a little trick at the end of it, and hopefully that trick helps you stick it better on the iPad. So you saw me using my fingernail to try to tape that thing. Yep. So I'll let you know when it gets to that part. So once you have done with that, go ahead and peel off that tape here. Okay, now I'm going to come with this one here. So make sure you remove this plastic, the one that comes with the new screen. You can see what I mean by the tape is not sticky enough. You see what I'm trying to remove? It peels off with that tape itself. I'm trying to get that blue plastic out, but then the tape comes out with the blue plastic. So that tells you it's really not sticky at all. You definitely need that red adhesive tape. Okay. Alright, so final check, make sure the cable is taped down here, make sure the LCD has no dust on top, click the home button, works, flip the screen, try to align it at the bottom left corner, align on the top left corner, make sure you align them properly. Okay, now here comes the side. So remember the side, we still gotta peel this one off. And we still have the blue plastic to peel off. Alright, so here's the trick I like to share with you. As you can see that the flex cable for the LCD is here, right? And if you push it down, you might clip onto that flex cable, so all your hard work would be wasted. What you want to do is, before you close the screen, you want to get a tiny prying tool to push that cable inwards while you're closing the screen in. so that way you can tell you're not clipping onto that flex cable. Now do a final press, making sure they have a good contact, and closing down the iPad. Press the home button again. We can tell that the Touch ID works, and all the touch screen works as well. Now I prove it to you. We do not have to disconnect the battery. You can still cut off the flex cable on the broken screen. Alright, I hope this video is helpful. If you do find the video helpful, please give me a like, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please feel free to subscribe, and I really appreciate you for doing that. And if you have any question, comment below, and please check out the link down description below where you can buy the where you can buy the replacement screen from Amazon and the tools for this repair. Thanks for watching. Until next time, bye now. Take care.